everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We have a lot to get into. We're talking about J.J. Watt. We're also talking about Steph Curry and how he might be living in the past a little bit. And then LaMelo Ball got dragged for something that I personally think is kind of silly, but we'll be breaking it all down for you. Before we do that, subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and I think Twitter again @JRayTheFanatic.
Oh, Jackie's back! Yay! Wait, I feel like I'm having a lot of issues right now. I feel like there's a big delay or something happening. But Jackie, I'm going to jump right in really quickly. Let's talk about J.J. Watt, because he agreed to a 2-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good thing. That is definitely not the team that I thought he was going to end up to. To be honest, they weren't even on my radar at all. But I think it's a great spot for him to be in. The Cardinals were 6th in the league defensive-wise last season, which obviously isn't that bad. But they were also 8-8. So obviously they have some room for improvement. Anytime your defense can step up, I think it always improves your chances at getting a better record. Zach Allen is over there. He plays that same position. He's in his 2nd year, though. So I'm sure that J.J. Watt's going to take that position, and they might have to kind of decide based on who's playing better, what J.J.'s health is, because we know he is older. But I think this is a win-win for Zach, because regardless of what happens, he's going to learn so much from J.J. He's going to be able to improve based on just kind of watching and seeing what he does, how he understands the game and things of that nature. So I think Zach is going to be one of the biggest winners in this, obviously, but this is great for the Cardinals. They should be uber excited about this. This is a great look for him.
Yeah, well, for those of you who are tuning in the chat, let us know what you think about this move for J.J. Watt. You guys, before we go into Need to Know News, we do want to address something. We know that you're all probably wondering why we're down a member of the squad. We've seen all of the comments about Britt, and you all deserve to know what happened and why she isn't on the show anymore. So, as some of you might have heard, our company actually had a mass layoff last Thursday, and that affected everybody in the company. The Fumble is not and never has been made up of just me, Jackie, and Britt. There are many people who are involved behind the scenes, and the company had to make a really tough decision to let people go. I want you guys to know that this was all very unexpected for all of us. There was no single incident or something that happened that led to this point. And I also want to make it very clear that Jackie and I have absolutely nothing to do with who gets hired or who is laid off or let go. And we also want you guys to know that this was as much of a surprise to us as it was to all of you. We didn't know this was coming, and it's been shocking and an adjustment. It's also important for us to convey to you that, and for you to understand that there's no ill will, there's no beef between anyone on the Fumble Squad Live, and the decision to downsize the company goes beyond just the Fumble and what you see on the screen here. Like I mentioned before, there are a ton of people that work behind the scenes that you guys don't even hear about or know about, and a lot of the decision-making power is not in our hands. We really will miss Britt a lot. She was a really great part of the Fumble Squad Live, but Jackie and I are going to continue to carry on the show as best we can, and we hope that we can just get some support from you guys, and we love talking with you guys in the chat, so that really means a lot to us. And I also do want to say that everybody is rooting for each other in these moments, and we're excited to see what happens for Britt next and how the Fumble works to adapt to some of these changes. So I hope this clears up some of the questions that I know you guys have had. We've seen those comments, and we just wanted to speak on it rather than carry on as if we don't see what you guys are saying and the questions that you're asking us. This is the part of our job that really sucks, but in a time where a lot of things are changing in the world, things are constantly in flux, we're kind of in these very unprecedented circumstances. We just have to roll with the punches and keep moving forward, and we hope that you guys can do the same So we appreciate you tuning in day after day. We are wishing the very best for Britt. We'll miss her, but we're glad to have you guys here and tuning in the chat. So I hope that clears up the questions that you guys had. And on that note, let's jump into the news, you guys, because I know that's why you tuned in. You want to hear about what's going on in the world of sports, so let's do it. The Warriors, they are not this spectacular team that we once knew, but they're also not the worst team in the league like they were last year. But Steph seems to think that they're kind of still always on everybody else's mind in the NBA. So on Sunday, the Warriors got completely blown out by the Lakers, and Steph threw a little shade at LeBron James and the rest of the LA crew. Leo, when you get a second, can you roll that clip for us?
You know, teams still want to beat us and beat us bad. They still have, you know, a lot of memories from the last 5-6 years. So I think a lot of that is you have to, against the really good teams, those disciplines that separate a good team from a great team have to show up.
So basically what he's saying is that the Warriors of seasons past continue to live rent-free in NBA players' heads to this day. Maybe he's right, but I also feel like these athletes always have a goal of winning regardless of who their opponent is, and especially regardless of who their opponent was a few years ago. I don't think that LeBron and the Lakers took the Warriors any more seriously because the Golden State team had a 5-year finals run. I think they're focusing on what the Warriors are doing now, and they're adapting their style of play to make sure that they hit all the weak points in the Warriors lineup. I also think that LeBron is the kind of guy who is putting up a fight, playing as many minutes as possible, working really hard, regardless of which team it is. So I feel like they weren't really going up, suiting up for this game and thinking like, man, I still have a chip on my shoulder because of who the Warriors were a couple years ago. People were actually dragging Steph for this comment. There was one tweet that I wanted to show that said, LeBron didn't even have to try hard during the game, but okay, LMAO. So, Jackie, I have to ask you, do you feel like it sounds like Steph is really living in the past?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where it was a good ride while it lasted. Everyone was literally looking to, because that small ball game wasn't something that had been that successful in the league until the Warriors perfected it. Shouts out to Mark Jackson. I'm still never going to let that pass, or we don't give that man his accolades for building that team. And then, Steve Kerr stepped in, and that's when they became really successful. But, Steph is a little guy in the league. He's not a little guy, to you and I, but in the league, he's a little guy. That small ball was extremely successful. And it did become, the Warriors were the team that you were trying to beat, period. There's nothing else after that. You were trying to beat, it was like you were trying to beat the Warriors or stop LeBron. That was it. That was all you talked about in the league. So those days are not the same. You got to kind of learn that your train isn't going to move forever. It is going to run out of steam at some point. And we've seen, unfortunately, with the injuries that both Klay and Steph have had, and then Draymond's getting a little bit older, that team is not the same. And that person who said LeBron didn't even try hard, he didn't. That game was a blowout. I got bored. I forgot the halftime it came. I was like, damn, this game is boring. And then I looked up and I was like, oh, we're in the third quarter. It was that dry, so it wasn't like it was that hard. And on top of that, LeBron clearly isn't worried, because LeBron did his post game and ended up taking off his headphones to give Steph a hug and be like, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? Like they were friends. There's no beef there. He's not thinking about, nobody is thinking about beating the Warriors. I think that energy has shifted. And now that we see that the chemistry is actually working in Brooklyn, now it's like, okay, can we go back to beating bigs? We've been so focused on beating that small ball for so long. And now we got these bigs in Brooklyn that seem to be gelling in a way that none of us thought they were. And now that's going to become the team that everybody's looking to beat. So it goes in waves. It's been like this since the dawn of basketball. It goes in waves. The wave has gotten off of the Warriors. Steph needs to realize that it's gotten off of them, and he needs to kind of maybe think about adjusting his game as well, because that small ball just isn't going to get it anymore.
Right. Yeah, and actually the Fumble in the chat said, no one wants revenge, Steph, get over it. It's kind of true. I don't normally find myself like criticizing something that Steph says, because he's usually just such a neutral guy. It's really hard to dislike him. But in this situation, it's like, Come on, bro. That's not what anybody's thinking. Do you think, Jackie, that there are teams that are going into games against the Warriors with that chip on their shoulder based on the reputation that they had a few years ago, or is Steph just completely off base here?
I think there's not one team in the league that's thinking about what the Warriors used to be. I think that every single person is looking at who the Warriors are right now, and they're looking at the Warriors with an understanding of you do have to start looking at their young talent. And while we do love their young talent, they haven't proven that they're going to be the new Warriors that we need to beat. They're going to be another team that's figuring it out, and they're going to be figuring it out for a little bit. Not one person in the league right now is worried about the Warriors like that. I can tell you all eyes are on Brooklyn, and that is it, and that's all. I think eyes might be on the Lakers a little bit, and not even so much as the team to beat, but as much as, okay, can they all be healthy at the same time? Because we've seen that that's becoming a problem in LA. So it's not, nobody's thinking about the Warriors. I would love to see their viewership. I would bet even their viewership has gone down because they're just not an exciting team. They're not an explosive team anymore. And as you get older and you have injury and after injury, this is just a thing. It just happens. So I'm sorry, Steph, but get over it.
I know, I kind of wonder what was going through Steph's head when he did answer this question. Like, does he truly believe that people are looking at the Warriors and remembering the super team that they once were when they don't even have, I mean, they have an entirely new look now. So it's not even, there's really not even a lot of remnants of the same team still there, except for Steph and, Draymond as like the mainstays. But I mean, Clay's out, KD left, it's just kind of an interesting thing. So what do you think was going through his head when he answered this question? Like, do you think even Steph really believes that people are looking at the Warriors and being a little bit fearful based on their previous reputation?
I think Steph wants that to be true, and maybe he's, reminiscing before they moved the entire team, and maybe there's a part of him that's kind of still stuck to where they were. But Steph is, he understands the game, and he understands that where he's at right now is not a thing, but he's trying to be a thing. Because, the one thing we talked about when Clay went out, we have not seen, and that was, can Steph carry this team by himself? We have not seen that. You can blame that on injuries or whatever. Yes, he still goes out there and he does his thing, but his thing doesn't carry that team. So I think that there's a part of him that's kind of holding on to, remember when everybody was worried about me? No, what we see now is we weren't really worried about you, bruh. We wasn't worried about the entirety of the team, and you're not that guy that can carry the team by yourself. I know that you wish to be, and it sucks, but you're not. And like I said, just get over it. That's just where we are right now.
Yeah, very, very interesting. For those of you who are in the chat, let us know what you think about Steph in these comments. Does he need to kind of get his head out of the past and focus more on the future, focus more on what's happening right now? Or do you think that there's truth to what he says? So go ahead and fill us in the chat. And now let's move on to LaMelo Ball. I feel bad for LaMelo Ball because he got dragged a little bit for something that I don't think he needed to be dragged for. But, when it comes to LaMelo, people always have something to say, whether they're talking about his family, a.k.a. LeVar, or they're talking about his game, or I guess even his name. Before he even entered the league, people were debating about who should be called Melo. Should it be LaMelo Ball or should it be Carmelo Anthony? Because I guess there can only be one Melo in the league at the same time, even though we've got like 100 Jameses and like all these other names, but nope, only one Melo, you guys. So things kind of came to a head over the weekend on Friday night when the Hornets matched up against the Golden State Warriors. And one of the Warriors reporters noticed that LaMelo celebrated in a distinct way after he made a three-pointer. It looked a lot like the way Carmelo Anthony celebrates. So he called him out. Watch the clip here.
And his celebration, he's doing three fingers to the head like Carmelo Anthony. I know they're both mellow, but come up with your own celebration. Be original.
Jeez, salty, relax, Warriors reporter. What's the big deal? He sounded like personally offended by the way LaMelo celebrated this three-pointer. Like, I can think of a lot of things to be upset about. This is not one of them. I don't think it's a bad thing if they choose to celebrate in the same way. We've seen guys take each other's celebration moves before, and you kind of like, it's sort of like respecting the person who started it or whatever. But luckily, LaMelo fired back at that announcer and said he's been doing this since he was a juvenile in training. And there actually are videos of him doing it as a kid in the same way. And people say, like, a lot of young basketball players now really looked up to Carmelo Anthony, and a lot of them started doing the same celebration when they were playing in their Pee-wee games or their high school games, because that's what they saw and they thought it was cool and they respected Carmelo Anthony. So I feel like it was really silly for this Warriors reporter to drag LaMelo for this. Jackie, was this a ridiculous thing to call out?
Absolutely not. I am 100% reporter. I hate seeing anyone, because there's people who do, LeBron, where he hits his chest and he pushes down. There's people in the league that do that, but these people in the league that do that, we know that they grew up watching LeBron or they're fans of LeBron before they even came into the league. So we know that there's a certain respect. They say imitation is the best form of flattery. I don't care if LaMelo was doing this as a kid, because if he was doing it as a kid, in my opinion, Carmelo Anthony is 36. So you still got it from Carmelo. So I'm not trying to hear any of it. I hate when people call him Melo, because for me, Carmelo was the first basketball player that I met when he came to Denver, and I was with it. He is the coolest guy. What you're not going to do is be out here stealing his whole name and his whole celebration. Do something different. I am not a fan of this at
Jackie!
all. The dragging? No, sir. Get your own celebration. Do better.
Oh my gosh, Jackie, I'm shocked by this. I do not think it's this serious at all. I do not think the Warriors reporter needed to be so salty, but wow, my co-host on here, you guys, she is salty too, apparently. The MELO thing, I mean, I really don't care. I don't think it's a big deal at all, but because I think his own family calls him MELO, so who are we to say that LaMelo can't be called MELO when that's a nickname that he's had probably his whole life? And I feel like the three-finger thing, like that's, I don't know, to me it's such a small, minor move. Who really cares? I don't know. I feel like it was funny. But so
wait. So if he was running down the court and doing the time, we would know that was Dame time. So then that might be a little bit different, because now we know maybe he could say, oh, I've been a fan of Dame. But either way, you stole his move. The thing is like, get your own. You're supposed to be a LeVar Ball descendant who does all these great things. So do something great and make up a different celebration. It's that simple. Otherwise, you just copying. We always gonna know you're copying because you didn't do it first. And it's Carmelo Anthony's thing. It's always been his thing. Do something different.
Okay, so if he did do the Dame time thing, would you feel you would have the same reaction, or is it just Carmelo Anthony that you think deserves to have his own move? Like, would you be as upset?
No, it's specifically the intention. Like I said, I've seen guys in the league that have said, oh, I grew up wanting to play like LeBron, wanting to do, like, if I had heard that, if LaMelo was like, oh man, Carmelo was always my guy, I grew up watching him, I have so much respect for him, then it's a respect thing to me. But you saying you was doing it since you was a juvenile in training, as if you as a child came up with that. No, you did not. You got it by osmosis. You got it from watching Carmelo. So no, if there was a level of respect that was attached to it, I would be with it. If he did the Dame thing and said, oh, Dame's my guy, I love the way he turns up, I would be with it. But if you do somebody else's move without a level of respect attached to it, then I have a problem. So I have a problem with this.
So, okay, I will give you that then, Jackie. I will say in his response to it, he probably should have said, I've been watching MELO since I was a kid and really respect him, have been doing this since I was a kid too. That I think I do agree he probably should have spoken on that. But I also just think that this is not that serious. But yeah, he didn't make up that move. That's true. He shouldn't act like he made it up, but I don't even know that he was. I think he was just writing a quick comment back and, wasn't even really, I don't think he was taking it that seriously either. But what about the way the Warriors reporter handled this whole thing? Do you think that he probably should have toned it down a little bit because he sounds so salty, or you're totally here for this, this moment?
I'm totally here for it. You know me, I'm not. I see some of y'all in the chat calling me salty. Look in my face. I do not care. I said what I said, and I think the that Warriors reporter feels the same way. He was irritated about it, and he just said it. And I'm here for every piece of it. Don't back down. Don't walk it back now. You meant it. Say what you mean, and say it with your chest. That's who I am.
Say it with your chest. So when I was looking at all of the responses to this on Twitter, a lot of people were Team LaMelo. They were like, this Warriors reporter needs to sit down. He needs to relax. Do you think that Carmelo...
When he said it, he was sitting down. So he meant it while he was sitting down. You guys can have several coming for this commentator that way. He said what he meant from his seat. Stop it.
Okay, but my quick question that I had for you before we move on to the post-up, do you think Carmelo Anthony will always have the upper hand, or knowing that people rush to LaMelo's defense, do you think that we're kind of approaching this new day and age where maybe Carmelo Anthony doesn't have the upper hand as a veteran anymore?
Oh, no, those days have not arrived. You know, he's in the opening credits of this movie. This movie is very, very long, you know, and I know he's having a great season, and shouts out to him. I think he's going to be very, very successful, but no, that's always going to be Carmelo Anthony's move. And there's going to be a time 5-6 years from now, he's going to do it. Carmelo's going to be long since out of the league, and somebody's going to say, why does he keep doing Carmelo Anthony's move? It's going to happen, and I'm going to be here for every piece of it.
Well, maybe the next time we see him make a three-pointer, he will have a whole new move, and it'll be the LaMelo ball move, I guess, maybe, if he plans on changing it. I don't know. But That wraps up Need to Know News. So, Jackie, take us into the post-up.
Yes, let's get into this post-up, because I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And y'all know I'm riding for LeBron, and he, of course, heard about that guy who none of us really knew about, and so I don't even care to remember his name at this point, but he came for LeBron and said that he didn't think LeBron should speak on certain things, especially that regarding political and social movements. He didn't think LeBron should speak on that, which we all know is moronic for whatever reason, but he didn't realize that LeBron's memory is very, very long, so and he doesn't forget anything, and he does research, so take a look at this.
It's funny he said that, because I believe in like 2018, he was the same guy who said when he was back in Sweden, talking about the same things, because his last name wasn't a certain last name, that he felt like it was some racism going on when he was out in the pitch. Right? He did say that, right? Yeah. I thought he said that. So I speak from a very educated mind. I'm kind of the wrong guy to actually go at, because I do my homework.
Yes, King. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm just going to say, didn't he say that? Right. Let that marinate. Like, this is the same guy that's coming for me, who was just talking about racism from where but see, here's the thing. And I said that last week. It's one thing when somebody who's not black talks about it. When it's a black person who talks about it, it's all a different thing. And let me tell y'all, the racist was out in full effect on this tweet. People said, oh, yeah, but LeBron doesn't speak up on China. LeBron reads the Malcolm X biography, therefore he's racist. I read the Malcolm X biography once a year, you guys. You know, he's my idol. He's my screensaver. Does not make me a racist. Black people can't be racist, but that's a story for another day. But I am going to get to what these comments were on this post. I have one comment that I want you guys to see really quickly. He says, LeBron is 100% bigger sports star than Zlatan. You don't have to be American to see that. And that was in response to somebody whose name is House Husband Material, which unpack that, says it's only Americans that think LeBron is bigger in sports than Zlatan. Only Americans. That is not factual, because if it was factual, y'all would quit asking LeBron to solve world problems. Y'all think LeBron needs to solve world hunger. He needs to solve things in China. He needs to solve things over here. If y'all didn't think that, y'all wouldn't keep saying that. So stop it. Stop it right now. I loved LeBron's response to this and letting it marinate in the atmosphere like that. Devin, what did you think about that?
Oh, I thought LeBron had an epic response to all of that, and he said it perfectly, and it's true. He is somebody that does his research, and he has a lot of the proof of the work that he does physically available to all of us, like his school in Akron, Ohio, the I Promise School, and his More Than a Vote campaign. Like, this is a guy that actually will learn something, learn about an issue, or experience an issue himself, and take to the streets and actually do something about it. So he's not the type of person to come at, and I know that people may not agree with his political or social views, but ultimately I think what we need to realize is that he wants to help people. All he wants to do is make sure that the people who have been traditionally disenfranchised, or maybe they've fallen through the cracks, that they have an opportunity to be uplifted. And I feel like, I don't know, you can disagree with what he says, but I think that you need to respect that he's somebody that actually wants to create change. So I think we're approaching a time in our country where if somebody has an opinion that's different than you just want them to stay silent, and we're never going to be able to progress if that's how we treat everybody else. So we've got to be open to hearing all sides, and I think LeBron needs to keep doing what he's doing because I like it and I support it, and this response was perfect. So go LeBron.
I love it. LeBron is the GOAT. I see you, Cherokee Ox in the chat. Correct, 100% correct. But let's get into this next one, because this next one, I'm just gonna go out and say it. I'm on TikTok a lot. I don't post anything on TikTok, but I thoroughly enjoy everything that's happening on TikTok, except for one thing, and that is that Siri saying, if you're whatever. I hate the whole robot talk on your little TikTok. Stop doing that. It's trash. But it's 100% correct in this situation, because I saw this and I was like, oh my God, they're going to just let him walk out here with his hair messed up? Because for the ladies in the chat, when you out with your girls, that is a no-no. If something is wrong with your girl, you got to be the first one to let her know. Otherwise, you have violated girl code. And so I was really happy to see the squad step up for LeBron when he was having a hair moment. Take a look.
If your dog don't got you like this, is he really even your dog?
And they keep going, like, you got to do it. That's squad goals right there. Oh, I love that 100%, because again, that's what you're supposed to do. But I love this next Twitter user, because the thing is, LeBron shaves his hair so close that at this point, shouldn't we just give it up? He says, if the simulation took your hair, it's because you were meant to be bald. Time for the king to join the long line of bald basketball brothers. It's not like we don't see what your head looks like, right? Because I could see if you've had this nice little baby fro your whole life, you don't know if there's dents underneath there. You just don't know. But your hair is shaved so close, we know it'll look good. So just go bald. And then enough of this. I'm with it. You're going to look fly either way to me. So just go bald, my guy. It's about that time. All right. That's good news. Those are squad goals over there. I think Houston might have a problem with some of their squad goals, though. That I could be wrong, but I don't think so. The good news is they're making history. The bad news is it's the worst kind of history. They had a historic defeat against the Grizzlies. They lost 133-84 on Sunday. Let that sink in. 133-84. It is the biggest win in Memphis franchise history and the third largest loss for Houston. I am so sorry, but that is just not the kind of records that you want to be breaking as a team. You don't want to be giving another team their franchise biggest win. It's not what you want to do. It's their 11th straight loss. They're now 11-21. It's their lowest. They shoot the lowest percentage from field goal range. They are breaking all kinds of worse records right now. John Wall scored just 14 points. Deshaun, he came off the bench with 14. And then after that, the rest of the starters were trash. Daniel House had 5. PJ Tucker had 1. Justin Patton had 10. And then Eric Gordon had 5. And so they asked him after the game, what's going on? What do you think? And he said, this S is just ass terrible. That's so matter of fact. It's so plain. It's so true. It's definitely different from what head coach Steve Silas said. He said, I hope we get better because this is kind of embarrassing. It's the longest losing streak in 20 years. And then John Wall came right after that and said, no, this is just ass terrible. So I love this because it's 100% correct. It's unfortunate. And it's just not a good look. There was that moment where they got on, I think it was like a 4-game win streak. And we were like, that was like right after James Harden left, they lost 2 or 3. And then they went on this 4-game win streak. And we were all like, oh, okay, maybe Houston's about to be about that life. And NBA Central wanted to make sure to remind John Wall that he said something similar, because he said, I feel like now I'm the franchise guy since James Harden left. That was in the midst of that, they kind of winning. Now that they losing a lot, y'all didn't have to throw this in this man's face, but Devin, they out here setting losing records. I mean, I guess it's a record, yay, maybe? I don't know, but do you think Houston is be able to turn the corner? Like I said, it was only John Wall that scored 14, and then Jashea came off the bench and he scored 14, but everybody else, their starting line, trash. Is it a chemistry thing, or what do you think's going on in Houston?
Oh gosh, I don't really know what's going on in Houston, but I feel like we see sometimes these teams go through this sort of like mid-season slump, or they just kind of hit that wall. So I feel like there is an opportunity for them to come back, but they do need to be able to kind of have that chemistry and build together. I don't know what's going on though, but that was a very, very disappointing game. And I think that it's probably a good thing that John Wall was just able to be so blunt about it and just say, like, yeah, like, we suck right now, instead of trying to come up with some sort of, a justification for why things are going so badly, because at least he's acknowledging it. And then now, they say acknowledging it is the first step. So get to work. Let's do a little bit better now, because we wanted John Wall to be the guy. We wanted him to be the person that comes in and swoops in and saves Houston. So I don't know. It was rough though.
Yeah, it was definitely rough. I don't know. And it's a lot of pressure. He is right. I think he is the guy for that franchise, but he's just not proven that, because, Houston will throw the whole farm at you if they think that they can rely on you. We saw what they did with James Harden. I don't think they're going to be throwing any farms at John Wall right this second. I think he needs to do something a little different before they throw the farm at him. But let's get into this next one, because you guys, I have to really thank you for helping me understand what was going on in this next one, because I'm going to tell you for sure that I had no idea what was going on. I thought that maybe he was having a time like I was having, where he was looking for something to watch as like an old school movie or something. But look at this. So Brandon Ingram posted this to his IG. He basically sends up the bat signal and he says, ain't no vibes in New Orleans. So I'm like, well, no, that's not true, because they over there, they vibing as a squad. Like, what does he mean there's no vibes in New Orleans? Come to find out, he basically, Twitter has let me know that it means that there's no, honey dips, no get around girls or things of that nature in New Orleans. So take a look at some of these tweets, because they are hilarious. This one says, of all the places I've traveled to, New Orleans has the weakest pool of females, and I live in Cleveland. I don't know if y'all have ever been to Cleveland, but that is a bold statement. I just can't. That one does not seem fair. I've only been to New Orleans once in my life, and it was as a kid, but it just seemed like there was a lot of very beautiful women out there, but maybe I don't know, but somebody else on Twitter said something similar, and he says, nah, New Orleans has hella baddies. What you mean? So that's what I thought. I was like, no, this ain't right. So I guess that's what he meant. Is that what he meant by that bat signal? Is there's nothing to do, no women to do? I'm not entirely sure, but Twitter seems to think so. So I appreciate you guys, because I had no idea what he was doing. I thought he was trying to watch the old school Batman that had Prince as the soundtrack, because I love that movie. That's what I thought. But thank y'all for clarifying. I appreciate y'all. Let's go. Yep.
I have one thing to say. Okay, we have seen many, many times over and over again, an NBA player will fly out some IG model from LA or New York or San Diego. So if what he's really looking for is some get-around girl, he could get that in New Orleans in about 5 or 6 hours, however long that flight is. Fly them out to LA, put them up in an Airbnb for a month, and they'd be happy, So I feel like it's not about women. I think maybe he just wants like some more parties or some more fun like night out kind of things. I mean, I guess he probably wouldn't be doing that because of COVID protocols, but I don't know. I don't think it's the girls. It's not that hard for an NBA player to get an IG model out to wherever you are. It doesn't take much at all. Just a free plane ticket, some nice dinners maybe, and that's all you got to do. So that's my advice for Brandon Ingram.
Maybe he's not the type of guy that puts that much work in. Maybe he's just used to being Brandon Ingram and he walks outside and then the women just come. Maybe he's a lazy catcher of women. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. That's great that you say that it's not that hard to get you a get around girl, because we know who the king of that is, at least the one who supports a lot of people in those fields where they need, look at that. See, Mamba Machines in the chat says, oh, just go to a gentleman club. If in New Orleans, the gentleman club is closed. And that's the question. What if in Brooklyn, the gentleman clubs is closed? Because now we have a situation where we know that James Harden, his whole reputation is going to precede him. And you know it's bad when an adult website has no problems getting their letterhead and sending a letter to your organization, to your job, and say, hey, we got get around girls online all day. But that's exactly what happened. I want you to look at this letter, because the site is called Cam Soda, and they said that they can help. So it's an adult website. They sent an email to the Brooklyn Nets offering a digital strip club for James Harden and the rest of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I just don't believe, if James Harden was not in Brooklyn, I do not believe this email would have been sent. But I want you guys to take a look at this second paragraph, because the second paragraph is what's hilarious to me, because they go on and on and on about how great their site is and blah, blah, blah. But the first line of this one says, that being said, bring the strip club to them virtually by formally providing KD, Kyrie, and James with an elite VIP access to Cam Soda, the leading adult webcam. At the end of that, he says, he's doing that for their greater good, because they don't want to risk their championship by, like, if they do what Devin says and fly in a girl, or if they go out and then they're violating protocols because they do what Lemon Pepper Lou did and go to Atlanta City, something like that. So is this a genius business move? Like, hey, don't go to the girls. Let us bring the girls to you virtually. We're going to give you this VIP. My question to y'all in the chat and to you, Devin, is, do you think the Brooklyn Nets will take them up on this VIP exclusive offer?
I'll answer that, Jackie. I don't think so. We already had a cam girl site offer the NBA players in the bubble free access to their website. And while some of the guys may have taken advantage, I think that we would have heard about it a little more if they got an influx of signups from people with, like famous names or whatever. So I don't think so. I think that for an NBA player, a virtual girl is just not going to cut it, because it's too easy for them to get real girls during normal times. So the virtual thing, I don't think they need that. So I don't think they're going to take advantage of this at all. And plus, I see a tweet in here that says Cam Soda isn't even a good site anyway, LMAO. So I guess. Yeah, apparently this guy, Official John on Twitter, the Official John says that Cam Soda is not a good site, so he knows. We got to trust him.
Okay, the Fumble has me weak. They said, how do the girls get paid? Is there Venmo or QR code on the screen? The last thing I want to see is a visual of James Harden, like, trying to get the QR code, and the QR code is in some place nondescript. Stop it. Now I can't get that visual out of my head. Thank you so much for that, Arthi. That's just stuck in there right now. So I'm just going to move on to this next one, because this next one is, Devin's going to know about this, guys. You guys know I don't keep up on this. I don't know who should technically be at the top of this list, but there is a list nonetheless. Now that Kim Kardashian has officially filed for divorce from Kanye West, she is once again up for grabs, and people are wondering how long it's going to be before that Kardashian curse makes its way back to the NBA. So there is a list as to who would be the first to snag Miss Kim Kardashian. I want you guys to take a look at this list really quickly. I'm surprised there's only a few names on it, but y'all can see that right there. Your boy Clay is at the top of the list. Clay just seemed a little bit too wholesome to go the Kardashian route to me. I could be wrong, but he's on the list. The one that got people really upset, though, was Paul George. Paul George is also on the list. I have some responses to the fact that Paul George is on the list. He says PG-13 already married, too. I don't know. I thought he was just engaged, but again, y'all know I don't keep up, so maybe he did get married, but this person thinks the same thing. He says he's engaged, but he has cheated. And if I do recall correctly, I do believe, wasn't she a stripper? Or am I tripping? Let's go to Devin, who knows about these things. Devin, was Paul George's ex-girl or current girl or fiance or whatever, wasn't she a stripper?
Yeah, that is the story, that she was a stripper. And she got set up really nicely now. But I do want to say, if I'm betting anything, I'm going with Van Jones, just if anybody cares, because you know, I think that Kim Kardashian needs a nice mature man. He's 52 years old, you know, he wouldn't be afraid of the kids or anything like that. So I think if anyone wants to bet on Kim Kardashian's dating life, you got to go with Van Jones. It's not going to be Klay Thompson, and I don't even think it's going to be Paul George, regardless of that cheating past. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want it to be Klay because I actually like Klay, and I just wouldn't want him to be, you know, the recipient of that curse. James Harden's on the list though too, and that's a real possibility for me. I mean, just because of the kid, I think you're right. He might be like, I'll take you, but not the kids, because he's just not ready for that. But I think I could see James Harden. We've seen enough pictures of Kim Kardashian half clothed to know that he might be down. That's all I'm saying.
I do not think the James Harden thing is ever going to happen. I don't see that happening at all. I think Kim Kardashian is now too much of like a mature woman for him, in just multiple ways, you know? She's now been divorced twice, or is it 3 times? I think it's actually 3 times, because she got married in a Vegas chapel when she was on, I think it was ecstasy. I think that's the story, at least. Anyway, enough about Kim Kardashian. Let's move on. Plus, James Harden dated Khloe, I do want to say. Gotta add
You
that.
think that matters in that family? I don't think that matters for James. I don't think that matters in the family. But let's move on before I start some mess. And all of a sudden, we on gossip blogs or whatever. So let's move on. Because this next one, I'm going to need everybody in the chat to take a moment and give this woman a round of applause, because things can happen on your first day. They can be really great or they could be really bad. This one could have been bad depending on how she reacted to it. But this young lady posted this to her Twitter, and she said, y'all, my first time covering Friday Night Football, and here I got hit with a ball on live TV. She did, and we've seen these so many times where somebody gets hit, and then their just whole dramatic reaction happens. She did not. She handled this like a boss. Take a look.
Because of COVID. So there's a lot of anticipation heading into tonight. And one of the biggest questions was actually seating. Up until tonight, fans thought they were only going to be able to have 100 people in the stands because of Governor Roy Cooper's.
Look, she kept going. She's like, ooh, ow. Okay, so what I was saying was, I love this. She a beat. That is a boss move to me. I am so here for her and how she handled that. You just, well done, lady. Y'all need to go ahead and give her a round of applause, because we know we've seen those reactions. They could be really bad. I'm so proud of this young lady. But look, this next one, this is the one I really need to hear from you guys on, because I literally got in a huge debate. Now, this is, y'all gonna be like, why did y'all debate about this? I don't know, but it just happened. We saw Kyle Kuzma. I'm not gonna show you Kyle Kuzma first. We saw Kyle Kuzma come with his pregame fit, and a friend of mine and I got in this whole debate of what he looked like. We both resolved that he does look like a cartoon character, but the debate is which cartoon character. I said he looked like Mushmouth from Fat Albert if Mushmouth was in the middle of a pandemic. So I think you put on a mask on him, that's what Kyle Kuzma looks like. But wait, my friend said, no, he looks like Kenny from South Park if Kenny was in the middle of a pandemic. So if Kenny had on a mask, then this would be Kyle Kuzma. So I don't know if either of those are right. I think I'm right. But you guys take a look at Kyle Kuzma's fit and tell me, what do you see? What is this?
I'm over it. I'm done.
Kyle Kuzma is dating a supermodel. How does she let him out? I'm just going to go ahead and say she wasn't home when he left the house, or she was at her place, he was at his. Maybe they ain't doing the cohabitating thing again, but who does he look like? Please in the chat, let me know. I still think it's Mushmouth from Fat Albert if Mushmouth decided to wear a whole mask, because, you know, he's got a mask already. So I'm going with Mushmouth. Y'all let me know what y'all think he looks like. Because Kyle, you know, he's always had an issue with his fits. This one was just pretty bad. I don't know what to say, but I'm gonna get into this next one really quickly, because this next one, there is nothing I would do. I would not cross the street. I would not delete pictures from my phone to make room. I would do nothing to get a picture with Jay Cutler. But I want you to see what this man did just to get a picture with Jay Cutler. Take a look. All that, and he doesn't even look excited to take the pic. Jay Cutler's not he's not the one that I would do anything for. You either want to take this pic or not, but I'm not chugging not doing it. But this one Twitter user had a good point about his time in Chicago. He says, I can't even heart this tweet. What sane person would waste beer on Cutler? Some of y'all might throw some number up. He did nothing for Chicago, gave us most of the ulcers and a hatred for the Bears. Not someone I'd like to memory with or about. Think about it. And then I love the clap back. And he was like, but he was like your best quarterback in like 40 plus years. That is hilarious to me because that is actually a factual statement. But still, I don't give a damn how good he was for those 40 years. He was still trash in Chicago, and I'm not drinking no beer. I'm not even taking a shot. Even if he buys it, I might take the shot if he buys it. But I'm still not taking your I'm still not going to take your picture. I'm just going to be factual about that. So let's move on to this one because this one is just so funny to me because Tom Brady, you guys I'm sure know the story of Tom Brady and how he almost wasn't even drafted. His college coach from Michigan had to call in a favor because nobody was checking for Tom Brady. He posted this on his Twitter that says, you know what? It still gets me fired up. But you just listen to how bad people talked about Tom Brady before he made it into the NFL. Take a listen.
This is the draft report on you. And we condensed this a little bit. And basically it goes, Tom Brady, poor build. That might be accurate.
I would probably agree.
Skinny, lacks great physical stature and strength, and gets knocked down easily.
Well, that kind of gets me fired up because I'm thinking, what the hell do these people know? That sounds like Joe Montana right there. When people tell you, hey, you can't do this, and you keep overcoming that, you build this confidence in yourself and this belief in yourself that even when nobody else believes in you, that I'm still going to do it because I don't give a shit what you say, but I know what I can do, and I've done it.
I mean, okay, aside from the Joe Montana reference because of the blasphemy of it all, how dare you, sir? But he is easy to knock down, which is why Belichick created this whole system where he's not easy to get to. That's why the NFL created the tuck rule because he is easy to knock down. That's I appreciate how good he is outside of that, but let's not trip and act like this man ain't hard to knock down. But I do love the message behind this. No matter what people think about you, if you believe in yourself, keep going, keep doing that. Because just think if everyone had given up on him, obviously we wouldn't know. But when we look at what we thought then versus what we know now, it's a totally different time. I love the message in this. I love the message of keep going no matter what. Devin, I'm going to get to you. What did you think about looking back on this video and seeing how nobody said anything complimentary about Tom Brady?
Well, I think it just goes to show that you can't pay attention to what people say about you, and you have to be your own biggest advocate and your own biggest supporter, because if Tom Brady listened to all of that and let it get to his head and let it affect him, he wouldn't be the player that he is today. So I think it's really awesome that he was able to block out the noise. It is very hard to do. I'm sure you can, well, maybe you're better at handling it than I am, Jackie, but sometimes the mean comments that even we get, they end up seeping into my head. But you got to be strong. You gotta support yourself. So I think it's super funny, and I think it's a cool story, even though we're not huge Tom Brady fans over here. I think it's a cool story to know that he was very, very underestimated in the beginning, but went on to have such an incredible career.
Yeah, no, I love that message. Again, I'm not a Tom Brady fan by any stretch of the imagination, but this is something that if I was a school teacher, I would definitely play in my classrooms, to let kids know that I don't care who is saying what about you. If you believe in, you only need one person to believe in you, and that's yourself. And so just keep pushing no matter what. So shout out to Tom Brady for posting this and reminding us of what he had to go through to make it. But that's all I got for the post up. And now it's time for me to get into what we not going to do, because I am so excited about this one, because yesterday was the last day of Black History at least for y'all. Y'all know I do it year round. But for the rest of the country, yesterday was the last day of Black History Month. And I found out, I told you guys I was watching the Laker game and I was kind of bored in the situation. But one of the things that excited me about it was, I think it was late in the third quarter, the commentators started talking about this whole thing with the Atlanta Dream and how great this is. And I was like, okay, what are they talking about? And then I looked it up. And it's just amazing to know that Renee Montgomery is now a part owner in the Atlanta Dream. You guys know the whole story about the Atlanta Dream and how they had really pushed to get out from under her. That's her right there looking so beautiful. She's such a beautiful woman. And the Atlanta Dream really went out of their way. They wore shirts. They actually, we know they went out and campaigned for Kelly Loeffler's competitor. So to push her out, so now she's an ex-senator. She's no longer a senator. And now the thing became, what are we going to do? How are we going to get her out from being over this team? And so I was so excited to find out that Renee Montgomery is part of this. It's a 3-member investor group that was approved by the WNBA. That was actually confirmed on Friday. The other members are real estate investor Larry Gothensnyder. I apologize if I messed up his last name, but he was approved. And then Suzanne Aber, she's the president of a Northland Investment Corp. So 2 women, one of them is Renee, a Black woman, which I love that. This moves mean so much, you guys, because I've talked about it several times, and I tell you all the time, you cannot change what happens at the table if you do not have a seat at the table. So this is huge. This is a really big deal that she was able to be a part of this 3-person purchasing group of the Atlanta Dream. It's also historic because she becomes the very first former player to become both an owner and an executive of a WNBA franchise. She's the first one to do it. I love this. She is going to play an active role with the team. They've already worked that out between the 3 of them. She's going to be playing an active role with that, which I absolutely love. But you guys, let's just make this clear for all the LeBron shade that people like to throw out into the world. What we not going to do is pretend that this did not start with LeBron James. By her own admission, Renee says that when LeBron, we talked about that a little while ago, he posted this and said, maybe I should create a purchasing group to go and buy the Atlanta Dream. She says when she saw that tweet, it started her thinking. She says she already admired him for his More Than a Vote campaign and really looked up to him as far as what he was doing with social justice and things of that nature. Because keep in mind, she also took a break from the WNBA last season, and she didn't play at all because she wanted to be on the front lines and get out there and help as much as she could regarding this social movement that we're in right now. So she was inspired by the tweet that LeBron posted. And then I read a little bit more, and she actually reached out to him to find out, was he legit? Is this something that could actually happen? He influenced her, I guess, put her on the right path, caused this whole union to happen. So now this is all because of a tweet that started from LeBron James. And so she posted on Twitter, I don't know. So she posted this. She said, blessings. Moments do equal momentum. I'm so excited. So can y'all start showing support by hitting that follow button? So she wants all of us. So go do that right now. Well, not right now. As soon as you get off here, go to Twitter and follow the Atlanta Dream because she's going to be doing a lot. She looks great in this little video that she did. And then, of course, LeBron James had to circle back and show his support as well. He said, so proud of this queen. This is very exciting. This is everything we are about. More than an athlete. And of course, he shouted her out. So this is huge. This is huge to know that something, and we just talked about this with, Tom Brady before, that one thing can be that spark that pushes you over the top. She did officially retire, but she had to retire anyway because you can't be an owner of an NBA or a WNBA team and play in the WNBA. So for people who were wondering if she was going to come back to the league, that is an official no as of Friday, now that this has gone through. But she did play 11 seasons with the WNBA. She won 2 championships. And I just want to shout her out and say what we're not going to do is overlook this moment to say congratulations to Renee Montgomery for getting a seat at the table. We're not going to overlook LeBron James for just putting it out in the atmosphere and then this causing this spark to be ignited in her and her going out and figuring out a way to become part of a purchasing group. This is amazing. Congratulations to not only Renee, but to the Atlanta Dream, because this is something that they wanted and it is official now. Congratulations to everybody involved. And that is all I have for what we not gonna do.
Amazing, Jackie. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Shout out to Renee. Cannot wait to see what she does with the Atlanta Dream. Very, very exciting news. It's a long time coming, and I'm super proud of her and can't wait to see what happens. But yeah, that wraps up our show for the day, you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow both of us on Instagram, and now you can also follow Jackie on Twitter too, because she is out of Twitter jail, released on good behavior. So good job, Jackie. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below. We're going to be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So see you then, you guys. Wash your hands, wear a mask. We'll see you guys later. Bye.